See No Evil. Action.
So See No Evil tells the story about a group of juvies going to some burnout hotel called the Blackwell Hotel, and they have to clean it up. That way their sentence can be reduced. But while they're there, they encounter a 7-foot, 400-pound guy who carries a chain with a hook at the end who plucks out eyeballs. And that's basically it. Like, this movie has a very simple, isolated concept of just this whole hotel that, quite honestly, would just, it's so shitty, it would just be demolished. It would be so much easier to just demolish this place and start from the ground up than to fucking clean it out. I mean, this place is a shithole. But yeah, they're there to clean it up. That way this old lady who just bought it recently can turn it into a homeless shelter for the homeless. Because she's just so nice. This is a movie that I visited quite a lot after it came out. This movie came out in 2006, and I saw it when I was probably like, what, 11 or 12, and I saw it every year after that, and I always thought this movie was good. But after watching this movie now, as an adult, I have to say that this movie is pretty cheesy. But I'll get into all that in my negatives. So let's just start with the positives, because that's going to be quicker. My positives for this movie is, I guess, Kane Hodder playing Jacob Goodnight in this movie. He's very tall and menacing. I mean, his tall 7-foot figure is scary enough. I like his choice of murder weapon, the whole chain that he throws with such accuracy. The fact that he plucks out eyeballs is kind of like reminiscent of Black Christmas, and it's very, very gruesome, this movie. All the kills are kind of creative, and they pertain to that character, the way they're killed off. Like this one guy who tases Jacob, Jacob being the bad guy, he takes the taser and uses it back on him. And this one woman who loves dogs ends up getting eaten by dogs. And it's just, I like the way the people are killed in this movie. It's very unique, and I like that. So I give that a positive. And there is one moment of genuine, like, good tension, suspense that it actually does achieve somewhat, depending on who you are, of a scene where a woman is rappelling out of the building trying to get to the atrium. And she doesn't know what's going on above, and neither do we, but you basically, you know. But then Kane, he's like reeling her back up, and then he lets her go. That's a good scene of somewhat suspense. I like that scene. It's probably one of the better scenes in the movie. But other than that, I can't think of any positives for this movie. The rest is just trash, honestly. This movie is directed by Gregory Dark. I don't know any other movie this guy's made. This is a WWE produced film by Vince McMahon and everybody. The main bad guy is a wrestling actor. And now, ironically, Glenn, whoever his name is, who plays Jacob Goodnight in this movie, the serial killer in this movie, is now the mayor of a city in Tennessee. But you just got this group of shitheads. They're all juvies. I think they're juvies. They're all 17-ish. And they're picked up at the juvie place. I don't know anything about prisons or juvie detention centers, but apparently you're not handcuffed, alright? Because these aren't major offenders. They're just people who broke into places, computer fraud, assault, somewhat, I guess. But they're not wearing orange suits. They're just wearing clothes like it's their first day. They just got there. And they're just wearing whatever the fuck they want. They're not cuffed. And it's co-ed. They're putting boys and girls on the same bus. And it's like, that's not a good idea. And they're letting them sleep at this hotel together. It's like, there's no order at this place. This is not how a prison system would work. Every single one of them is just bland. You know nothing about these characters other than their crime, because it gives you this weird cheap flash of like, this is what they did. And then that's it. That's all you're going to find out about them, other than one of them likes dogs. She broke into a place to save dogs that were going to be gassed. The other one just assaulted their father because he was abusive. And the other one has tattoos. And the other one's a dickhead whose lines are like that of a middle school bully. He acts like a middle school bully. Just, eat me. Just mimicking people like that. It's like, this guy acts like a middle school bully. He's supposed to be 17 or 18 years old, but he acts like a fucking child. Speaking of child, our main antagonist, Kane, the big dude, he's basically just a giant man-child. And we keep getting all these flashback images of him as a child. And it's all very weird and stupid. And not to mention, this movie tries to do this twist at the end that they purposely ruin throughout the whole movie with all these flashbacks. This Kane, he keeps getting all these flashbacks of him as a kid explaining why he's so fucked up. And picking on these people who are sinful. Well, everybody sins, so therefore you gotta murder the whole world. But in these flashbacks, he hears his mom, or somebody, we assume it's his mom, talking, and it's clearly the voice of the old lady who's lending this hotel to these convicts to clean up. So it's all spoiled for you. I mean, I can appreciate this movie for trying to do some sort of smart twist at the end, but they completely edited the movie and shot it and wrote it in a way where it was ruined. I mean, this movie, it feels like it was written by a high schooler who just hates religion and wrote some character, a mom, who's like, everybody's sinful except for my son. My son's going to be the hand of God, and he's going to judge people, and I'm judging people. It's like, well then, and you're killing people. I guess you didn't actually read the Bible, because that's like, what, commandment number 5? It should be number 1 in my opinion, but it's number 5, I think. And it says, judge not lest you be judged, and he who is without sin cast the first stone. And they're casting all kinds of shit in this movie, killing people. That's not what the Bible teaches you. So much unrealistic shit in this movie, little nitpicks. I don't think this is a nitpick, I think it's a fair criticism. Our antagonist, Kane, he has a hole in the back of his head, because he got shot in the very beginning, and the bullet went right into his forehead and kind of ricocheted to the back and shot out. And he has maggots and flies coming out of his head, as if he's dead, and he's not. This movie's also missing like a score. Like, this movie has a very non-existent score. You don't even realize that it's even there in the background. There's scenes where like they're fighting back, and you feel like this is a moment for a good score, like something that ramps it up, and it's just completely missing. The score in this movie does nothing to complement each scene. It's just kind of just there because it feels like it just needs to be there, like some kind of random noise. Like there's a scene where it feels like somebody was flapping something, just it was just a weird ass score. This movie is missing a good score. It would complement, if that was in this movie, it'd probably be up a notch or 2. But it's missing, so this movie just sucks even more. And I know I mentioned how shitty these characters were. Well, guess what? The biggest shithead, that child, that middle school bully, guess what? He's your final boy, along with 2 final girls. And let's talk about the main final girl, who Kane Hodder. Why do I keep saying Kane Hodder? No. Kane, just Kane, the wrestler, the guy who plays the bad guy. He apparently saves victims for last if they have religious tattoos on them. Because just because. And this woman who has tattoos, she is the worst actress ever, but they're all bad. Every single one of them is bad, except for one that might be decent, which is the cop, the man cop, who gets killed off very quickly, who's actually the main reason why they're all there. That's their main target. The bad guy's target, the woman and Kane, that's their target, which is, the spoiler. That's a spoil. Whatever. This movie is not that good. This movie's so bad that they only found one quote to put on the back of it, which was "Sicktastic" by Toronto Sun. Yeah, they couldn't find any quote to put on the back of this movie besides that. This movie just had also a bunch of weird flash editing. What I mean by that, it was like all of a sudden they just be like high exposure and then not regular exposure. It just did all these weird editing. It's just, I don't know what the fuck they were going for. It felt weird. It wasn't good at all. But yeah, these are all just a bunch of bland people who you don't care if they'll get murdered. And sometimes their accents would slip through. These are a bunch of Australian actors playing Americans. And sometimes their accent would actually slip through and they didn't do a retake on it. You fucking asshole. I can't do Australian.
There you go. Fucking moron!
This movie is guilty pleasure at best. I mean, this movie tried to be smart with some twist, and it fell flat on its face. So when it comes to See No Evil, despite all the good kills you might get from this movie, I'd say that this is just wasted time. This is a movie that weirdly got a sequel, even though Jacob Goodnight, he is clearly dead. This movie still got a sequel for some reason, like 4 or 5 years later, and I don't know why. It did not deserve a sequel. Ghost Ship deserved a sequel, and yet we got one to this. Why? Makes no sense. My Mr. Had a War will go to the girl who fell through the atrium and got eaten by dogs. We didn't really get to see too much, but the irony of this kill and how she loves dogs makes it so funny that it's worth mentioning. And the Mr. Twig award will go to this blank canvas of a character because I don't remember his name. He gets tasered by Kane and then crushed up against the wall by a safe. Get rich or die trying, son. And those are my thoughts on See No Evil. Have you seen this WWE horror movie from 2006? What were your thoughts on it? Did you like this movie growing up, and has it aged well? Do you still like it today? If so, let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed this review and if you want to see more, you can do so by clicking on my beautiful cartoon face in 5 seconds. And until next time, Auf Wiedersehen.